Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share my review of Tales of Argosa, Caverns of Shennog from Pickpocket Press. Written by Stephen Grodzicki, this 22-page softcover is available over at DriveThruRPG for $9.95. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so, and it is absolutely free. Yes, you heard that right. It's free. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Caverns of Shennog for Tales of Argosa. A few things I want to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Pickpocket Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside this adventure framework. And then lastly, if you are a player and your game master is running Tales of Argosa, maybe they've picked this up, maybe they're thinking of running this. As a player, I would definitely recommend tune out now because there are going to be spoilers. And as I flip through, you're going to see other things which are no doubt going to ruin surprises of what's contained within. So you've been warned. But of course, by all means, let your game master know about this video so they can check out Caverns of Shennog. All right, let's dive on in. First thing we're going to do, take a peek at the credits page. A lot of folks worked very hard to bring this to life, especially the interior artists. One thing I've been very impressed as far as the Tales of Argosa releases I've had an opportunity to take a peek at is the artwork. There's a lot of cool line artwork contained within. Pretty impressive, especially considering this PDF is absolutely free too. So we're going to get an adventure framework. So what that means is this is a setting. It's a locale. There are things going on here. It is populated, but there is no linear plot line that's running through this. So we're not looking at A to B, B to C, C to D. This is not linear at all. So there's a lot of emergent gameplay that takes place in Tales of Argosa, and it's going to be taking place in Caverns of Shennog as well. So we're going to get an overview. What's going on here is there's a cavern that the player characters are going to hear about. Being player characters, they're probably going to want to explore this. Although I did point this out with Sky Tower of Belkzas, which I just reviewed, which I liked quite a bit. There's no adventure hooks. There's no hooks for the player characters. I would have liked to have seen a few. Even though we get some rumors, we also get some little bite-sized nuggets if the players decide that they want to investigate before setting off for the caverns. But I would like to have at least some sort of motivation for the players. Just a minor critique. So we got our table of rumors. We've got our research. We've got our trek to the caverns. So what I've seen so far with these adventure frameworks is that we will actually have some encounters that the game master can utilize for the journey to the adventure locale. Now, this is actually formatted a little bit different than Sky Tower of Belkzas, and I do like the changes quite a bit. One of the things is that we get a player map, and then we got our keyed map. So I like that. That's cool. As far as the breakdown of these keyed locations, we are going to get information about what sort of lighting there is, sounds, smells, tactile touch. Do the player characters see any tracks on the ground? We get a breakdown of each of these locations, which will have some color coding. So if there is a creature or something that could cause damage to the characters, it's in red. If it's directional, so as an example, if you have a locale that's got a doorway or an entrance or exit to the west, that'll be in green. And then if there's any sort of loot, that is in blue. Also, important things are bullet pointed, and anything that's going to be obvious to the naked eye is going to be bolded. Really like that a ton. Now, what's going on in this cavern? We have this weird creature, the Lashry, and it is being worshipped by these strange albino cycloptic creatures. They're like real spindly. In fact, there they are. They're on the cover. We also have some artwork here for them. And they're pretty interesting. In fact, they have the ability to stare at a character and possibly cause a mutation. So that's pretty wild, pretty bizarre. So they worship this creature by way of this sorcerer who's also there in the cavern, who is another interesting NPC too. Now, as far as the adventure framework itself, I got to be honest, I liked the premise of Sky Tower of Belkzas a little bit better. This feels a little more standard OSR fare in my book, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that. I do like the weird cyclopean albino creatures are like 7 feet tall. I do dig those. I think those are pretty cool. But as far as the adventure itself, it's solid, if maybe not spectacular. But the layout, the little changes in the layout, I think are far better than Sky Tower of Belkzas. Even though I really liked that layout too, I think the presentation to this is just a bit better. We're going to wrap up. We get some pre-generated characters, which is what I have seen so far with these various different adventure frameworks. I've been told by Steven over at Pickpocket Press that the adventures aren't really written for particular level ranges, because in Tales of Argosa, you only have levels 1 to 9, and there isn't a ton of HP bloat. There isn't a lot of power creep. So you could have lower level characters or higher level characters go and adventure in these Caverns of Shennog. It is sort of set up for 3rd level characters, because those are the pre-gens. We had 4 of those. And I got to say, these pre-gens are really interesting. I like these pre-gens that I've seen in these adventure frameworks. They're very cool. And of course, make it very easy for you to just hand out some character sheets to your players, jump right on in. And then we even wrap up with a player cheat sheet, making it even easier for your players to just jump right on board and dive into the action. So that is a look inside Caverns of Shennog for Tales of Argosa. Let's swing back over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. I really like these adventure frameworks that I've gotten a chance to see for Tales of Argosa. I've got 3. So I've already reviewed 1. We got another review here. So of course I will be reviewing the 3rd in the not too distant future. As far as the adventure goes, it's solid, maybe not spectacular. I like the premise of Sky Tower of Belkzas a little bit better. There's kind of a twist there that I really like, kind of up my alley. This feels a little bit more like traditional, old school styled adventuring, which there is absolutely no issue with that. It's just fairly standard. Like I said, it's solid, maybe not spectacular. I really do like the albino cyclops creatures and the fact that they can mutate player characters. It's not a given, it's a possibility, but I do like that. And the way these adventure frameworks are put together, nothing is set in stone. So these albino creatures may not necessarily be hostile when the player characters encounter them. So we have a reaction table, which you utilize quite a bit in Tales of Argosa. So I do like that. So it's very possible that the player characters could encounter some of these creatures and the creatures are just curious about them and kind of attracted to them. It's also very possible that they just come screaming at them to tear them to shreds. So you've got that. But a lot of emergent play with these adventure frameworks because it's not linear. Everything is is based on the player characters as well as some reaction rolls that you'll be making. Very, very cool stuff. Should also mention, if you have not checked out my review for Tales of Argosa, definitely give it a peek, especially if you enjoy old school styled role playing games and maybe you're looking for a sword and sorcery inspired RPG, because this is essentially the second edition of low fantasy gaming, although it's titled Tales of Argosa. It is not a high epic magic setting by any stretch of the imagination. It's got more of a Conan the Barbarian, Fafhrd Grey Mouser sort of feel to the proceedings. So definitely check it out. I absolutely love it. It is so cool. Of course, we're not talking about the Tales of Argosa core rulebook. We're talking about the Caverns of Shennog. Shennog. I don't know how it's pronounced. And what I think. So adventure-wise, I think it's a little bit weaker than Sky Tower of Belkzas. Presentation-wise, I think it's a bit better than Sky Tower of Belkzas. So I'm actually going to give it the same review score as I did Sky Tower of Belkzas. And that is an 8 out of 10 on a scale of 0 to 10. Like it. It's absolutely free in PDF. So there is absolutely nothing holding you back from checking this out. And you don't necessarily have to be running Tales of Argosa to get something out of this. You can crib a lot of good stuff out of this adventure framework. So I definitely recommend taking a peek. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.